Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 13 or 13 of Viltrumics, an Invincible podcast here on the Aspect Network. I'm one of your hosts, Brianna Romero, and joining me to discuss the latest and greatest in the world of Invincible is Megan Fu. How are you doing, Megan?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm sad because I think in our last recording I had a joke I was gonna say. I missed it. I can't think of what it was. But I
Now the
remember
podcast
like thinking
is
it was funny.
ruined.
Say that again?
It's now the podcast is ruined, and that's why this is our
Yeah.
last episode.
Yeah, I really hope it comes to me during this recording because it was funny. I just don't
Time
remember. But
you could
yeah.
ever say the joke ever.
Yeah, after the podcast is done, people Bree and I are gonna block each other on all forms of communication. So it's now or never for me to remember
Please.
what this joke was.
So forgive him if he's a little distracted during this episode, the last
Yeah,
episode,
I'll be thinking.
which is so fun that we're ending on 13 episodes. What a good number to end on, or a bad number to end on, depending on your thoughts and opinions. How do you feel that this is our last one for now?
Um, we're recording this towards the end of May, so right before the summer. So it feels like a an appropriate time to go on a hiatus. Summer break, you know. I guess that summer break doesn't really exist anymore for adults, but this is like that's why this kind of it feels like a nice time to break. Because this summer I'm only gonna be outside playing Invincible with my pals.
You live in New York. It's the perfect time to play Invincible.
Yeah, might go to Central Park in June and just run around, climb on rocks and stuff.
Climb some trees. Did you
Yeah, climbing
did you
trees.
ever did you ever play Groundies as a kid?
No, I don't think so.
So Groundies, really quickly, was a game where you were on a playground. You had to have a playground, and there was one person who was like it, and they had to try to tag people, but they had their eyes closed, so it was a dangerous game.
Oh, okay.
I feel like they could open their eyes. I don't remember. Anyways, if you heard
Hmm.
someone on the ground, then you would yell groundies and they would be out. And that's the game of groundies.
Huh.
Anyway,
Interesting.
um,
Interesting.
so maybe you could play that this summer.
Yeah, yeah. Whenever you and your other LA friends decide to come visit New York, we'll plan a game of like freeze tag or something
Okay, great.
in
Great.
Central Park.
Great. I can't wait. All right.
Awesome. Well, today we have our last episode of Viltrumics before our hiatus with the bonus episode that is the Adam Eve special. So let's kick off this week's show by just jumping into our overall thoughts on the special. Bree, we'll start with you. What did you think about this episode and also the choice to make a whole episode just about Adam Eve?
I think it was a great episode. I when this episode came out, I actually don't know if I knew that it was coming out. Maybe I
Yeah,
did.
I feel like it kind of just dropped
Yeah,
last summer. I think that's when it came out.
me too. So I don't remember, but I remember being really happy. I was like, oh. Um, and I loved that we got a whole episode about Adam Eve. I think there's a lot to explore with her, so I'm glad that we did that. I don't know, do you know if this special is based on the comics?
Oh, that's a good question. Um, I mean, I have no doubt like all of the her like lore is probably just ripped straight from the comics, but I don't know if it's like based on a specific like, you know, prequel issue. Um,
Oh, okay. So just with a quick Google search.
mhm.
Okay. It's like a single, this commenter says it's a single trade combined with the Rex origin. There's a comp,
Oh,
comp, compendium
yeah,
for,
compendium, I think.
for all the side series that also includes it.
Okay,
Okay,
that's pretty
interesting.
cool.
Okay,
So there's a Rex one as well.
I guess so. But I bet it's like a little bit smaller.
Yeah,
Especially if they're combined. Like I feel like they probably added a lot to this special.
yeah.
Yeah, I loved that we got this episode. We love Adam Eve. We're big fans of her on this podcast. So it was cool like seeing where she came from. And also we see a lot of her parents in season one, so it's fun seeing like how that relationship kind of came to be and why it is so negative. Um, I think it's crazy that her parents don't know that she's not their child.
Oh yeah, that is crazy. Because Brandyworth, like, I guess the Wilkins, their newborn did not survive. But Brandyworth like just gives them Eve, and they're just told like, "Oh, we saved your kid." Yeah, that is like, wouldn't it's hard to tell when they're animated, but like, wouldn't you eventually notice like your kid like does not quite look like your kid?
She has like red hair too,
Yeah,
bright red hair.
yeah, yeah. I feel like at some point you'd be like, why is your kid not? I don't know, unless maybe you don't have to be related to someone to look like them. So maybe they just kind of lucked out.
Yeah.
Um,
What is
yeah.
what are your overall thoughts of this episode?
It's a lot of fun. It's very like it's kind of dark and sad. I think Eve kind of has a sad backstory.
Yeah,
But it is cool to follow like a different protagonist. Um, like on the rewatch, and this is how I felt when I first watched it too. I was like, oh, like I almost kind of like I could forget that Mark is our main protagonist, and like there's this whole other main like Viltrumite story arc. Because I thought following Eve and like Eve as a tween was like pretty compelling and pretty fun. Um, so I hope like we get more like Adam Eve centric episodes or storylines as the show progresses. Because she's definitely, I mean, Mark is our main character, obviously. Um,
sure.
and sure, like Debbie and Nolan get a lot of like screen time and story prominence, but Adam Eve is like our other kind of terms of like we're following like this young hero who's sort of coming of age. It's Mark, and then like Eve is the other one basically. I don't think there's any other character that is so far that's quite as like um maybe eventually Rudy will I think Robot will play a bigger role. But yeah, so Eve is really cool, and I think this episode um is a very cool kind of introduction to the character. I bet you could honestly watch this episode before watching the actual show, maybe. I don't know if it would I don't think it would spoil anything.
I don't think so. I mean, we'll get to it, but there's like that end moment with Omni-Man where we see him get a little
Right.
angry. But
Mhm.
that's not spoiling anything. But
Yeah.
yeah, well, There's a lot to talk about in this episode. Do you have any other like big moments that stand out to you?
Um, as far as big moments go, no, I mean I think everything was just kind of scene by scene, other than just Eve having a very cool power that is, I think, honestly, visually just more fun to watch than like the Viltrumites who can only kind of just punch and fly, and which is cool, but she can do so much with her power, and I think we really get to see that here, and I think that's why like I just just as a character she's almost more fun. I bet she's more fun to animate
Mm.
because there's so much play involved.
Yeah. And I love that she can like heal herself too. I think that's really cool. And I love that her colors are pink.
It's cool.
I love, we'll get into it in a second, but I love the moment where she like makes her own superhero costume and she's just like wearing a really cool like pink hoodie. I was like, that's cool.
Yeah, yeah.
They
Very
all they all have little silly costumes before they actually get their real costumes made.
if you made like a superhero costume, what would your like color scheme be?
Um, I love pink, so I'd probably also go with pink.
Hmm.
Yeah. I would just actually have Adam Eve's costume.
Yeah, it's a cool costume, yeah.
What would your color scheme be?
Um, I don't think I would go for something as like flashy as Invincible's costume. I mean, I definitely think darker colors are cool, like blue, black and like a navy blue. I guess like Batman. Probably dark colors, but yeah, I just like how could you not have black is like such an awesome color. Uh
What what's your favorite color?
when I was a kid it was green.
What kind?
Now what kind of green? Like Crayola green. Classic green. I don't know. I mean now it's I don't really I guess I like blue more as just a general like design choice. I just see it more in like my water bottle's blue, like I have more blue clothing than green. Yeah.
It's blue.
Yeah. Light blue's cool. I think I just see blue used more like as a design choice. So I kind of like blue, but
I thought
yeah,
I would get like a simple answer.
no.
You're a complex man, Megan.
Yeah, I've thought a lot about this. I've thought a lot about what my superhero costume would be. I'm still waiting for the powers when it happens. Um,
I think I just I love the idea of like having like a cape and a mask. That's all you need.
yeah. Would you just do like that, like her mask in this one, where it's just like this, or would you do like a full thing, or like a
I
visor?
like Mark's little goggles. Do you think his goggles, I guess like oh, I guess I was gonna say I guess I would need like goggles for like my glasses, but I could also wear contacts.
Yeah,
Normalize glasses on superheroes.
yeah. It needs to. We need that.
They can't all have perfect vision.
Yeah, we need poor eyesight representation. Um, like when like when you're like I sent you a meme about it, like when you're driving like at night and there's so many like car lights. Yeah, see, I bet like if you're flying around as a superhero with
That's true.
doesn't have 20/20 vision, you're just seeing a bunch of that.
Like, ah. All right. Well, we have a lot to talk about. So when we come back, we'll be talking about some of our favorite moments and elements from this show. Nope, from this episode. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Alex. Enjoying this show on the Aspect Network? Then you should check out my show, Philosophy of X. Each week, I pair an X Men character, story, or concept with a relevant philosophical topic and explore how the two relate to one another. Join me on my journey to examine the world of X Men through philosophy. And now, back to the show.
Welcome back to Viltrumics. Before the break, we discussed some of our overall thoughts on the Adam Eve special, but now we want to dive into specific parts of the rewatch that we really enjoyed. Megan, let's start with you this time. What were some of your favorite moments from Invincible Adam Eve?
Honestly, I love the whole opening sequence where we see the original Guardians in action, just because prior to this, we only see them in the very first episode. So it's cool to see them and see a bit more of their like team dynamic here. And obviously we've seen a lot of Immortal, but it's cool to see him bounce off of War Woman, and we see a young Black Samson. We see the male Green Ghost, who I know in the comics he's a guy as well, and then gender flipped for when the show premiered. But it does make me wonder, like is the Green Ghost's mantle like how many have there been in this world now? Like at least two. Um,
Yeah, that's interesting.
will there be another one? Maybe is it just like anyone can kind of pop those, or like whatever it is that gives you the power?
Huh, that's an interesting
Mhm.
choice they made.
It's interesting. And then Aquarius is also here.
Mhm.
And they fight the Lizard League, who interesting seeing them, in season two, and they kind of do some damage to the new Guardians.
Mhm.
Um, but obviously, like against the original Guardians, it's no contest.
But in the Adam Eve special, we see like a younger version of the Lizard League that we know in season two, right?
Yeah, it's a slightly, yeah, younger, slightly different because wow, I can never remember any of their names.
The
Um,
Lizard Queen.
but yeah, the guy who like leads the Lizard League in season two is like just a kind of a kid here, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's cool. And also Omni-Man shows up and he's like a good guy. So that's kind of fun to see as well.
Um, that's one thing I love about this episode too, is it like takes a lot of what we've seen in season one and season two and implements it in different ways in this special. So it like all kind of comes back. So that's fun.
Yeah. Um yeah, and then we just jump straight into the birth of Adam Eve.
We do.
Um and we talked about it at the start of this episode, but she's kind of like handed off to the Wilkins and told that they're told that she's their actual baby when she is actually not. Um, yeah, I mean it's a pretty just like what's the word? Like as like the origin story of a character. It's
Hmm.
kind of just, sad. Um, her actual mom, well, I guess she appears later in the episode technically.
Yeah.
Just a baby that kind of has no say in any of this.
Yeah, it's interesting because we see this character, Dr. Brandyworth, kind of be the hero of the episode, but if you think about it, like he has like kind of been in on this whole Adam Eve like creation from what it
Yeah,
seems like from the beginning. So I think
right.
he kind of redeems himself and he like realizes what his morals are at the end of this episode and decides to save Eve and give her to a normal family.
Do you if you were Eve in this scenario and you realized that you had powers, but because of all this like experimentation stuff, like how would you feel? Because the powers are pretty cool. Like she has really cool powers. Um, but obviously it's someone like tampered with you as like a baby. Um, would you how would you feel?
Hmm. Well, I would hope that I would kind of feel the same way Eve does. What I love about her is that like she has been through some shit, and we see that play out in this episode, but she still decides to like be a good guy with her powers. So I would hope that I would be a good guy with my powers.
Yeah.
And I think it's so like sad to see Eve like try to make a friend in the girl named Val. And Val is
Mhm.
immediately like, "You're a weirdo." Like I would hope that my friends thought I would was cool.
Yeah, I feel like if I was a young kid, I mean, even now, if you were like, Megan, I actually have superpowers, and you made me like a cheeseburger out of thin air, I'd be like, this is awesome. I'm moving to LA so I can get more cheeseburgers.
That's funny.
Um, yeah, but her friend Val is not that chill about it.
Yeah. That's another thing though that I love about this episode is that her and Val like hang out in a treehouse. And then in season 1 we see Adam Eve make her own like tree house. I thought that
Yeah.
was a cool detail as well. Um, so it makes me wonder like how much detail the comic had versus like what the like what they decided to bring back in the Adam Eve special to like kind of connect season 1 and season 2.
Right, yeah. That's a good observation with the treehouse. Um, I never had a treehouse as a kid. Like I've never had one.
Me
Uh,
either.
but I always thought it would be so sick.
Same.
Hey, I don't even know if any of my friends had one when
I
I was.
was I was just gonna say the same thing. I don't know if I ever was in a treehouse.
Yeah, it felt like something that you kind of only saw in like movies and TV.
Yeah,
But I know it's people have them, but I would love to have one at some point.
me
Uh,
too. Even as an adult.
yeah, yeah, an adult treehouse. Um, it'd be sick. Have your friends over, sit up there, drink. I don't know,
And
play games. It'd be awesome. Um, so hopefully, eventually, we'll have our own tree houses.
yeah, manifesting.
Yeah, it's on
Um,
my life bucket list.
let's talk about young Eve and also Eve's love for Legos.
Yes, yes,
After I
yes.
sneeze. Oh, never mind. I'm not gonna sneeze anymore.
Okay, okay. She's gonna wait to do it like mid sentence. Yeah, she loves Legos because I guess she likes the idea of like moving things around.
And
Uh,
build it.
yeah. Um, and then like we see her as a kid and her babysitter is like studying for his chem test or something, and she knows all of it because I guess it's just kind of wired into her.
Mhm.
Um,
You're just so reminiscent of all these characters, Megan.
reminiscent.
Yeah, because
Oh, just like I
he
remind
loves
you.
Legos.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She's just like me.
Yeah, just young Eve though. Why don't,
Yeah.
why don't we see adult Eve play with Legos more?
Yeah, she outgrew it.
Never.
Uh, yeah. As I don't know. Girls outgrow Legos, guys never do.
I think that's not true.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You like Legos. Kate likes Legos. A lot of people like Legos, as they should. But I think Eve is. She has other things on her mind than playing with Legos.
I guess so. Yeah.
But it is too bad because I bet Mark Grayson. He seems like a Lego guy to me.
Yeah, he definitely seems like a Lego guy.
Yeah. Um, and so then we kind of jump forward to her as like a tween, like 12, 13.
Mhm.
Um, and her dad calls her a freak.
I know.
Yeah, her dad. Eve's dad versus Mark's dad. Who's worse?
That's a tough one. Hmm.
A tough one.
He's just like he's mean for no reason though. Like at least Omni-Man like has like a reason, I guess. But
Hmm.
Dad is just like a dick.
Yeah, he kind of just sucks. Um,
Her mom isn't the greatest either. At one point, her mom brings her a cream cheese and olive sandwich.
right, right,
Have
right.
you ever had a cream cheese and olive sandwich?
No, that doesn't sound very
I was
good.
I was gonna say, would you eat a cream cheese and olive sandwich?
No, I'm not really an olive guy, and
Um,
like you'd have to like add something with the cream cheese, like smoked salmon or something, I suppose. Like cream cheese and olives is just a weird like as a
yeah,
sandwich. Um, and
yeah.
then in my notes, because I just wrote down she turns it into a different sandwich because I wasn't sure like what the sandwich that she turned it into was. Couldn't tell. Something with meat, I think.
Was it not a burger?
Yeah, think probably that's what it was.
Yeah.
Um, but she also transforms a book into glass and then back into a book,
Mm.
which is cool.
Man, now I'm really hungry for a cream cheese and like salmon bagel.
Yeah, I had a bagel for with cream cheese for
That
breakfast.
sounds so good. Maybe I'll get one like tomorrow for breakfast.
Why not today?
Well, it's already like 2 p.m. here. I don't know.
Well, there's no time rules for what you can
I
do.
know, but tomorrow is I have it off.
Oh yeah, I guess
And
you
now
could.
maybe I can like go and like eat at a restaurant, but specifically for a lox bagel. And now
Yeah,
I'm looking at a menu.
that'd be cool. Yeah, I gotta go grocery shopping today or tomorrow, and maybe I'll get the necessary materials to just make my own. And smoked salmon is good.
Oh, yummy. Now I'm really hungry.
Yeah, see that's the cool thing, like of this power is that she can just make like she can make food.
Yeah.
Um, like you just wouldn't have to pay for food. Like, oh, McDonald's done. That's just
I guess,
crazy. Do
yeah.
calories even matter if you can just manipulate like molecules?
I
Like,
know. I'm like, she's so noble for like wanting to save the world. I would just like keep my
yeah.
powers to myself and just like make things that I need.
I mean, you wouldn't really have to work if you can just make money. I mean, sure, like the government, like I don't know if you can just get away with that, but if you're on the grid, but I guess she kind of in season one, she like leaves and just lives in like
A treehouse.
nowhere. I guess you could do that if you could. Yeah, I'd probably be selfish as well and just make Legos, make whatever.
Yeah. So
Yeah, just
one thing regarding Adam Eve's powers. What if her middle name wasn't Eve? Adam,
what's your
Adam,
middle name?
Irene.
Adam Irene, Adam Eve.
Like that just works so well. What's your middle name, Megan?
It's Renshane. Um, RenQing. Negan Renshin Fu.
Adam.
Yeah, it doesn't roll off the tongue quite as nicely.
Adam Kate. That's not a middle name.
It's probably some people's middle name.
Adam
Adam.
Adam.
I'm trying to think of what names.
She got real lucky with her middle name.
Yeah, Adam Eve is cool, but I feel like you could do some play with like molecule or like
Yeah, that's true.
molecular man. I don't know. Um, now I'm thinking about like what my superhero name would be, but I guess it depends on what the
This superpower was.
what the power is. Um, yeah, well, so we already talked about how Val is really freaked out by it, and then Eve also gets a notice of dismissal from the school she attends, and then she moves to public school. Um, but a really interesting part in this kind of section of the episode is when she sees a squirrel and she tries to change it into a puppy and nothing happens. And then she tries to make a puppy out of thin air and nothing happens.
Mhm.
And then we learn that she has like this psychic block, so she couldn't manipulate organic material, I guess.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
so the question is, when will she get past that block?
Well, it's interesting because at the end of this episode, she kind of manipulates living
Right.
matter in a way that she like erases their like memory.
Mhm.
That's interesting. But we see her like console like the dead Dr. Brandyworth and she like can't bring him back to life. So there's definitely like barriers with her powers. Um,
Yeah, she somehow, I guess she does manage to just erase their memory of her specifically.
mhm.
Um,
With enough like anger, it seems, because she gets, I mean, we're kind of jumping ahead here, but when she sees like her mom and she like just fought all of like essentially her siblings and
mhm.
Dr. Brandyworth die, like she gets really, really angry, and that's what kind of triggers her to like tap into like the potential of her all of her powers.
Right. Yeah.
That's just a really cool moment too, like seeing her like light up in pink and like float. And so
Yeah.
I wonder when we'll see her kind of get like that again.
Yeah. I was thinking about that as well. It's kind of the only time that we've seen her just in this like other mode. Um, so when will and now she's like grown up, so she's like probably way more powerful. She understands her abilities more. So when is the next crazy feat that we'll see her do? Um, maybe next season.
Who knows? I hope so.
Cool.
Um, at one point we see Eve kind of there's like this montage scene and there's like a song playing in the background that's like very reminiscent of like Phoebe Bridgers kind of.
Mhm.
So who do you think like Adam Eve listens to?
Oh, like who's on her playlist?
Yeah.
That's a good question. Oh, that could be its own segment. Uh,
That
Adam Eve. Hmm.
write that down. Write that down next season.
Next season
Do a
playlist
segment.
for what does Omni Man listen to? What music did he discover on Earth? What music would Adam Eve listen to? That's a good question.
Thank you.
She's so like in touch with like like the natural world, and I feel like she has such a she'd probably listen to music that's trying to think of like a more mainstream artist that she might like. Um, she almost seems like she listened to a lot of like indie stuff or like
Yeah.
more underground, like folksy music maybe.
Interesting.
Um, I don't know. What do you think she's bumping?
Definitely like some Phoebe Bridgers.
Yeah,
Just like kind of that kind of realm. I don't think she listens to Taylor Swift. She's not a Swiftie.
really.
Yeah.
Not even like the folklore Evermore stuff.
Oh, maybe a little bit. I definitely think Monster Girl listens to Taylor Swift.
Oh, really? I could see Monster Girl as like maybe a Billie Eilish person.
Oh, true. Oh, yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Or even just like some like grungy stuff like Nirvana or other like kind of bands from the 90s. Um, Mark Grayson, he has a lot of sad, like I feel like he's going through it all the time, so he'd probably listen to a lot of like Radiohead
Yeah.
stuff like that sad guy music.
I know. That's one thing I feel like the show does a really good job of like assigning like certain music to different characters during their montages. So I
Mm.
want Omni-Man to have like a song that's like his song.
Yeah, he needs like a he needs his own tune.
Hmm.
And
What's Alan listen to? He listens to like,
Alan probably would be a Swiftie.
yeah. I was gonna say he listens to LMFAO.
Yeah, they're number one on his Spotify Wrapped. He seems like the guy that would get into anything or that
Yeah.
he would no like guilty pleasures, no like his like taste kind of just encompasses
I think
everything.
Mark would show him like musicals, and I think Alan would really like musicals.
Yeah,
Some Hamilton.
I can see him as a Hamilton
Yeah,
guy. Wicked.
for sure.
Yeah. Huh. Maybe Mark just needs to introduce the Viltrumites to like Broadway
Yeah,
musical.
that'll change them.
Hey, Aspect listener, my name is Alex.
And I'm Kate, enjoying this show on the Aspect Network.
Then check out Bending the Narrative.
We are your one-stop shop for everything in the world of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Each week, we go back and discuss your favorite episodes of the series with a particular focus on the characters and narrative threads that tie the series together.
In addition to discussing the original series, we also dive into other stories in the world of Avatar, like Legend of Korra, the live-action Netflix series, the books, the comics, and more.
Join us as we travel the globe with Team Avatar and discuss one of the greatest animated series of all time on Bending the Narrative here on the Aspect Network.
Now, back to the show.
All right, bringing it back to the episode. One other thing I thought was cool that they also like bring back in season 1 and season 2, or in season 1, we see Eve kind of searching for Dr. Brandyworth, and at one point she goes back to the community center that her and Amber volunteer at in season
Oh,
1.
right.
That's really cool. I really love these like small details that they come back to.
Mm. And it's also um something interesting because Brandyworth, when she actually meets him, he's kind of just like this homeless guy,
Mhm.
which is sad. Kind of just he just appears to her in like her yard or something.
It's
So
after she fights those guys who were gonna like release the dogs.
oh yeah. And then he shows up there, and he's like tells her that she's adopted, and tells her not to use her powers. But I think it's interesting that he kind of becomes like this homeless guy, and when we see that he tells Eve that her mom was like a colleague who volunteered for this, but
Hmm.
we see that she was actually just like some homeless woman that they paid her to, I guess, undergo the pregnancy, which is kind of just like morally kind of effed up.
Yeah.
Uh, but and now he's like this homeless guy. Yeah. Yeah, that's a pretty like just kind of a just the fact that they like just grabbed her off the streets and like ate her and then she ends up well, I guess she doesn't die. They like keep her alive and she is used to like birth her siblings, who we'll talk about in just a sec.
Yeah.
But yeah, just a
Sad.
dark universe.
Yeah. And again, like it's so impressive that Eve like decides to take all this and like be a superhero versus like a villain. So,
Yeah, yeah. I feel like maybe part of it's because they send her to like live with the Wilkins and
oh yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. It brings it back to like the humanness of it all.
yeah, because I'm thinking of like Homelander and how his whole like background is just like kind of made up, right?
Yeah.
And he just grows up with like serious issues. But clearly, like as much as like her dad specifically kind of sucks, like clearly they did like a decent enough job at
Yeah.
raising her for her to be pretty normal and like well intentioned. Um, yeah. Again, like I think if I had her powers, I don't think I'd be Homelander or anything. But like I feel like I'd be way more selfish. Or like just way more like how can this benefit me in capitalistic America? Like how can I advance myself? She has very like pure.
Hmm. We love her. We love her. One thing I also love about Adam Eve is she has like some of the greatest lines of dialogue in this show. When she's fighting Kill Cannon, he's like, "Sorry, kid, you're just not made for this." And she goes, "I literally was made for this." Uh,
Yeah.
so I love how like sassy she is and like she knows that she is like this really cool like person. Um,
Yeah. She kind of she really embraces her abilities
mhm.
because it's sick. I think that's another thing like watching her like as a kid in this episode and like what it's like when someone who's like 12 realizes they have like these cool powers like it's awesome
Mhm.
because we don't see Mark get his powers till he's like 18, and it is still cool but it's definitely a bit older.
Yeah.
I think like developing your powers at like a younger age would be even like you know everything's so awesome when you're younger and so I feel like
Yeah.
especially getting superpowers like it'd be cool.
And we'll talk about it a little bit more later on, but it's just like it says a lot to like how Eve kind of had to mature a lot faster than Invincible because she did
Yeah.
have like these parents who didn't like fully
Right.
care about her the way that like Debbie and Nolan in a way kind of care about him. So
Yeah.
I think that's like something that she just had to become really independent. Um, so maybe that like is why she got her powers a lot sooner than he did.
Yeah. I guess yeah, that's a good observation. Yeah, I think her character is just yeah, very independent. Um yeah, not that she necessarily had like a from what we see like a rough upbringing. It's just definitely a different not as loving as Debbie and Nolan seem to have been. Um, and maybe not as I feel like I don't know if the Wilkins are like as I don't think they're as like high income as the Graysons. I feel like that's the vibe I get.
Yeah.
I'm
She
pretty
had a lot
sure
of
that
Legos though.
what'd you say?
She had a lot of Legos though.
That's true. It's true. Yeah, but also her mom serving her like cream cheese and olive sandwich.
She doesn't have a tree house.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about Eve essentially like having to fight her siblings.
Yeah. Um, her siblings are I think there's four of them, and the guy says that they're each like the next attempt. Um, which is like he says like they're all less successful versions of her. Was
Mhm.
she like was she like the pretty perfect like result? Like were they trying to achieve something even better? Because I feel like she's pretty, I guess, ideal as like
Well, I think it's because like she like kind of like escaped. So I think they were trying to recreate her without the help of Dr. Brandyworth.
right, right. And they really they did not do as good of a job.
No.
Yeah, all of her siblings, only one of them even talks.
Yeah.
The rest, they're just like mute. Um, Pretty like gross, straight out of Resident Evil characters. And then I think Eve notes that, they can like manipulate like their like body and in a way like she can't do that. And
Yeah.
that then it's revealed like that Brandyworth like implanted this like mental block. Because he had some sort of I guess he did have some sort of moral compass.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. This whole scene is just like kind of it's really cool to watch because we see like Eve kind of like see her own full potential. And like at one point she makes herself like an Adam Eve like armor suit, which is really cool.
oh
Um,
yeah.
so it's definitely a cool scene, but when you like take a step back and consider that she's like fighting her siblings, it's really sad. And it's just sad that they want to kill her just because she's a better version of her when like they should be trying to like team up and kill like Erickson and that other guy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like and the main one, I can't remember his name. Sam, maybe. I don't
Yeah.
know. He does seem to have some like moment of like forgiveness slash remorse like right before he dies. Um,
Yeah.
Even after he just tried to he's just beating her up and but then he's like he's kind of like smiling like I wish things could have been different.
Yeah. A very sad moment.
Yeah, the whole episode is honestly like kind of a sad episode.
Yeah.
Um, but then it gets. I think the whole like. I mean, what do you think about the whole fight on the bridge and just how it plays out and like how we see her use her powers?
I think it just emphasizes like how powerful she really is because she ends up like beating all of them in a way. I know like some of them get like run over by a car.
Right.
But like she it shows us like how powerful she is. Um and then we see Erickson and what's his face kind of take her down and kidnap her, I guess.
Yeah. Um, yeah, and then what? They take her back to the lab, um, and they have her like tied up basically.
Mhm.
Um,
which she easily breaks out of.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh and then like she finds her mom,
Mhm.
who we've said has kind of just been like being kept alive to birth like birth like these siblings. Um and uh and then Erickson accidentally shoots Brandyworth, and that really sets Eve off. Um and I guess we've talked a little bit already about her kind of at least somewhat like bypassing the block,
Mhm.
maybe. Um, but it's really awesome.
Yeah.
It's really satisfying. And she also doesn't, yeah, she doesn't kill them. She just erases their memory of her.
Which I wonder, like, if we'll ever see them again. I mean, probably not. There's just so many other characters, but because it kind of seems like Erickson would exist in the same world as Cecil. So
Right.
who knows
Hmm.
how much of their memory she erased.
Right. Definitely a pretty like OP ability on its own. Like I obviously we haven't seen her reach her full potential. Like she seems like she has the ability to be like the most powerful character, but just the ability to like affect someone's memory. I mean, what if a Viltrumite like she could like wipe their like memory like so they wouldn't be aware that they're like loyal to this like empire.
Yeah. Yeah, she has a lot of potential to like help out in the Viltrumite war. I just think it would like take a lot out of her to bypass that thing.
Yeah, I think she'll have to be really pushed. I don't see it happening until like later, like much later into the show.
Mhm.
Because it's also she's such a broken character. Like she can theoretically do whatever she really wants. So I feel like for the sake of like having an actual story, like
Yeah.
they're gonna hold off on it.
Mhm.
It will be really interesting to see her like develop her powers and fight, hopefully like fight Viltrumites or these larger threats. Because she just like watching her fight. It's like it's just like a fun like piece of animation. Um, yeah, I like when she's like stopping those two thugs and she just makes their masks like metal.
Yeah.
Like you can do so much with like so many like possibilities to like play around with how she like fights different enemies and what
Mhm.
she's creating. Um, it's really cool.
Yeah. A good a good special for sure. Um and then we see Mark Grayson,
Mm-hmm.
which
A
was
little,
fun. I love how they were like, and where was Mark Grayson during all of this? And when we see him run in like a duct tape costume.
yeah, he's a duct tape man.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a cool moment. Um, because we see like Nolan, like Debbie turns her back to like go help take the duct tape off of Mark, and then like Nolan has like this brief moment of like he looks like he's ready to like kill someone for a
Yeah.
second. Um, like he's like like still kind of fighting this. I don't know. It is like it's almost like he's like, why am I doing this? Like what, I need to this isn't why I'm here. Uh but then
Yeah.
he like, stops himself and it's like I don't know, it's such a great little moment. Um I feel like that side of his character is explored. Oh, sorry.
Man, we've just been recording all of our episodes one right after the other. So Megan and I have actually been recording for days. That's why he's so tired. Please
Yeah,
forgive.
we've been locked in our rooms for 48 hours, going on 49 hours. Because that times out right with 13 podcast episodes. It's a lot of preparation.
Yeah.
But we see that side of him more in season 2, like clearly someone that like really fell in love with like his Earth life.
Yeah.
Um, and he's like, I don't know, frustrated because that's over, and because he was sent on the mission, and just a really interesting character. Uh,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a small moment. Why do you think like they've included this little section? Because not really anything happens.
I wonder if it was to like appease the audience. Because like if
Mm.
we're getting an Adam Eve special, like yeah, that's cool, but I feel like maybe some audience members would have been like, where's Mark? Like, where's the titular character?
Yeah,
But it's also just fun to see, like, to remind us that like Mark hasn't gotten his powers yet. Like he's still just being a little kid.
Mhm.
And to remind us that like Omni-Man had to wait a really long time for Mark to get his powers. But yeah, I think a lot of it was to like appease the audience.
Yeah,
I thought
probably.
it was a fun moment for sure though.
It is cool. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. I really just want more of the show.
I know. Me too. Do you think they'll come out with another special before season 3 drops?
Ooh, like the Rex Explode special.
Be fun.
I don't know, actually. I mean, they've said I think that season 3 is already pretty underway. I mean,
Yeah.
so I'm hoping it. I mean, it'd be awesome if it came out as soon as like late 2024, but I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna be that soon. But they've made it seem like it's not gonna be the wait that between
Yeah.
season 1, season 2 was.
It would be cool if they came out with another special between that though. I think that'd be like a good way to kind of get us ready for season 3 and like remind us. And just to like explain because there is so much to explore in this world, so it'd be like a good way to cover some more bases.
Yeah. Is there like a character you'd want to see a special on?
Well, now that I know there's a Rex Explode one, like that would be fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Cecil's like a really interesting character to explore.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot more to him that we don't know. I think maybe it'd be too soon to explore him. Like, I think it would like
Probably.
maybe show us too much. Uh,
Mhm.
but yeah, Rex Explode. Um, I don't know. I can't think of anyone else right now.
The Immortal.
Yeah, the Mahler twins. Just doing a bunch of shenanigans.
Be cool to get just a Guardians of the Globe
Yeah,
special with like the older Guardians.
that would be a cool one.
Um, hmm.
Hmm. Another Alan episode. We have a lot of Alan in season
For
2.
sure, yeah. I mean, more Alan is always fun. Um,
Just like
yeah, I
a
don't know. There's a lot they could do. I don't know. Maybe they will do like a special in between each season. That'd be cool
mhm.
to explore like other characters that won't have the screen time in the actual season.
Yeah. Just putting it out there. Putting it out there.
Putting it out there.
All right. You have anything else to say on this, on anything?
Um, no, I mean the great episode, great show, awesome podcast.
Yeah.
It's been super fun getting to talk about this. And I hope season 3 isn't too far down the line so we can, do more of this and talk about whatever happens in season 3.
Mhm.
But yeah, well, thank you everyone for tuning in to Viltrumics and Invincible podcast here on the Aspect Network. It's been an absolute blast re-exploring the series with Bree, and we look forward to coming back for season 3. But first, Bree, where can people find you online?
For the last time for now, people can find me online on Instagram at Brianna_.Romero. You can find me on TikTok at BigHeadBree with 3 E's. And you can find me on Letterboxd at Brianna Romero. Megan, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Megan the Stallion _, and you can find me on Letterboxd at Megan2000. Please be sure to also subscribe here to The Aspect on YouTube and any platform where podcasts are found. There's many other cool series that are already out on this channel, as well as stuff that is upcoming. So definitely stay tuned. Follow us on Twitter/X, Instagram, and TikTok at The Aspect Co. Thanks so much for listening, and
Think, Mark!